What's happening, YouTube? This is John, nerding out with cards. Got a couple pickups, mail, whatever you want to call it, and then some hobby thought thinking stuff, right? So, start off with the pickups. Got this in the mail. It's a McDonald's 100th anniversary Cardinal set. Really cool. Comes in this binder, which I didn't have before. But it's a 50 some odd card set. Came out in 1992. Sold at St. Louis area McDonald's. Ozzy right there. Showed that card before. But anyway, goes through the 90s. You got Lee Smith and everything. But yeah, my earliest memories of card collecting, Cardinals fandom really goes back to 92. I've talked about that before. I have my childhood copy of the set right here. Not in that great a condition, but what I thought was really sweet was this binder right here. And you know I love binders. And I just think it's awesome. I absolutely love this set. You know, this is like the set that introduced me to Rogers Hornsby, Jim Bottomley, Johnny Mize, Frankie Frisch, Marty Marion, Terry Moore, all these guys. Like, you got Pepper Martin up there. I absolutely love this set. Grover Cleveland Alexander. And I remember back in the day, too, there was a VHS tape celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Cardinals. And I would watch that all the time. So my love and appreciation for the Cardinals and their history really goes back to what I would say my beginnings as a card collector and as a fan. Which, perfect segue. About a week ago, I went. I had gotten off work early, and I think it's absolutely amazing that right now, being in the St. Louis area, I can do what I did. But stopped into the Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum, and I am now a proud card carrying supporter of the Cardinals Hall of Fame Museum. Right? It's not just me on here on the YouTube talk about I love it, collecting some cards. No. I got the card to prove it, right? No, but I mean I've talked about it. I value the Cardinals Hall of Fame Museum much more than I do Cooperstown, and I don't think I'd like to beat that to a dead horse. But one of the things is, there a recent Veterans Committee or Eras Committee ballot, which had Dale Murphy and Don Mattingly, which elicits a lot of feelings, right? And so there was this like a live stream for the announcement with anticipation that there was going to be good news, depending on your perspective. I didn't catch the live stream. I caught the rerun of it, so to speak. The two guys that stick out in my mind is John over at 3D80s Kid, and you got Hitman23 because, well, one's a Dale Murphy fan and collector, one's a Mattingly fan and collector. And it really did suck to see their disappointment, hear their disappointment. You know, and my thing is, like, you know, while I was not here on the YouTube making content, just a year prior, Ken Boyer, he was on the Eras Committee ballot. You know, the one that Dick Allen was elected from, and Dave Parker, right? So Ken Boyer did not get elected. As a matter of fact, I don't even think he was close. If the rules that are in effect now were in effect then, he would have been dropped off the ballot, ineligible for the next one anyway, right? And it's just one of those things where I talked about this, like, you know, Ken Boyer is kind of why I started the Cardinals Hall of Fame Museum collection. And what I can tell you is Cooperstown has no effect on me. Like I said, I got off work early and went there. I can't do that for Cooperstown. Absolutely love it. So, anyway, I was watching Sports Car Clubhouse, you know, the channel that Mike over at Junkwax Hero, and then Greg over at Midlife Cards that they started. It's meant to be a podcast, and apologize, but like podcasters aren't my thing. Tried it, more of a YouTube watcher, so that's why I was watching it tonight. And they were talking about a lot of things, but they were talking about, rules for collections, picking up cards, or like, how do they fit in your collection? Will they fit in your collection later? Will you regret purchases later on down the road, or how do you stop yourself from regretting purchases later on down the road? And so the thing is, I was thinking while I was listening to those guys, and I was doing dishes and everything too, and there was three terms that really stuck out in my mind as I was thinking and thinking and thinking about it. Is, we talk about, the type of collectors that people are. They set collectors, player collectors, era collectors, blah 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 blah, right? And I was thinking about a little bit more deep, I guess. And so the terms that came out in my mind, and I'll define them as I go on, is, there's changing, growing, and evolving. Those were the three terms that circulated in my head, right? And so with a changing collector, like, let's say you collect something, whether it's a you're a set collector, and then you're like, well, I don't want to be a set collector anymore because there's a bunch of cards I just don't care about. I'm going to become a Hall of Fame collector now. Okay. Or maybe it's I'm nostalgic for the junk wax, but I love pre-war, so I'm gonna go to pre-war. That's what I think about, like, changing, right? And then what about like growing? That's the second one. And it was like, well, let's say this is what I collect, and maybe that collecting has plateaued. Or maybe it's that collection scope has been completed, but you still want to collect, right? And so that you kind of grow from there. What it could be through, because you're more aware and educated of what's out there. Maybe it's there's an interest that you gain, whatever the reason may be, but you still have that heart and soul, but then you just grow and grow and grow. And then there's evolving, and so, like, when I think of evolving, it's like maybe your eye has refined, maybe your taste has refined. It's you collected cards and you acquired cards, but then as you're looking at them, maybe there's something about them, like, maybe you didn't care about corners as much before, but now you do. Could be the registration on a card. Okay. Overall condition, right? What if it's, you really want to become an autograph collector. So you love the cards that you have, but you prefer them autographed. So it's like, more or less are just like swapping them out for, the autograph copy. Like those kind of things. Like, you just, like I said, it just kind of evolves, right? Because of changing tastes and interests and things like that. But you're not getting rid of, you're not canning it, you're not changing as a whole. And you love what you got, but you want it to be better, I guess is the best way to put it. Better as you define it. So then, like I said, I was thinking about those things, and I was just like, but so, like, what kind of collector am I? I would say that, like, as far as like changing, that one I can just like cross out really kind of easy. I haven't shifted, like, done like a hard reset or anything. So, like, I've been collecting Ozzie Smith since again '92. So I don't really need a belabor on that one. I haven't completely stopped and changed to something else. But what I do want to touch on is evolving. And so with evolving, I don't, at this moment in time, I don't think that's where I fit. It's like this Desert Shield Aussie card. I just happen to have this out still for my last video. But I would say an evolving collector, like I said, when I picked this up many years ago, like I got this just to get the card and move on to the next card, But what about like today? Would I want one that's better centered? Would I want one that doesn't have the wax stain on it? Well, I don't. Let's throw it out there. But what if, as a collector, centering had become more important to me? What if the overall condition had become more important to me? Then I think this is a card I would want upgraded. And that's kind of what I think about evolving. It's not that I don't love the card. It's just I want it to be better in my mind, or for what I want, right? So my tastes, I don't think have changed in large part over the course of time. I'll touch on that here again in a second, and so then that leaves growing. And for many, many years, I had collected some things. I just kind of stopped. But my Ozzie Smith collection has always been there. And that's what I collected, right? So when you hear about people leaving the hobby, coming back into the hobby at whatever times and reasons that they did, I would not say that I ever left the hobby. It's just that I was so focused on just Ozzie Smith that a lot of the modern stuff had come to be, and I wasn't aware because that's just not Ozzie Smith's era, right? A lot of the vintage or pre-war stuff was just not Ozzie Smith's era, so I didn't learn about a lot of those things. So as time had gone on, though, like that collection, I would say, has plateaued. I'm able to get cards here and there, but it's not with any sort of regularity, assurance that I can even get another one. Those kind of things. There are events like the Hall of Fame stuff that I talked about, but I would say I'm growing because I'm finding reasons to collect more cards. I found reasons to make a Yadier Molina collection make sense for me. I found an interest in Ken Boyer and the Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum. I learned that Stan Musial's cards are not that expensive, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I would definitively say that I'm a growing collector, if I had to put a finger on it, right? Now, that's not to say that I've not fit into the other categories, right? Changing collector. I used to collect Cardinals team sets. I don't. So I guess I changed there. For my Ozzie Smith collection, with certain cards, I wanted a graded copy of his rookie card. I looked for a better copy of his 79 Hostess card. Grading at one point in time was important to me. When I did a video on that. So I would say in that time period, a part of me was evolving. Maybe my taste had changed. Maybe, or was it so much that my taste had changed, but influences that affected me. I don't know, right? But either way, it kind of growing out of it is not exactly the best term, but that part of collecting for me had subsided. So that kind of shifts me back to growing. Like Bob Feller collection, for example. So again, it's just stuff that I was thinking about. A lot of us get labeled as a are we set collectors? Are we era collectors? Player collectors? You've heard me say it. I'm a player collector, by and large, or I'm a team collector, by and large. But I was thinking about it from a different vantage point And like I said, I wanted to do like a video because I was thinking about this stuff, and this is not divisive. This isn't positive or negative. It's just thinking, right? Like this is how I'm nerding out with these thoughts and how I identify. But how do you nerd out? And there cannot be a wrong answer to do you identify as any of the groups, or do you think I'm full of crap? There cannot be a wrong answer because it's all about what you think. So it's I thought it was just kind of fun, and then maybe if you happen to watch this, maybe it kind of makes you think about some things. I don't know if they're worth thinking about. Like I said, if you think I'm full of crap, go ahead and just let me know. But I thought it'd be fun to talk about something that doesn't hurt feelings, isn't negative, really isn't positive either. It's just like, again, it's just thinking. This is how I'm nerding out. You nerd your own way.